What's up everyone, Darcblade here with a quick information video regarding this week's miscellaneous news, limited bounties and event quests for Monster Hunter Wilds. This is for the week starting the 4th of March 2026, so let's jump into this. Now first of all, in regards to miscellaneous news. First of all, the Appreciation Fest, or the 1 year anniversary basically, is still in effect. So we are getting weekly seasonal events going on. This week we have the Halloween Dream Spell Fest, which is basically a autumn Halloween themed event. As always, the Gathering Hub is decorated in Halloween and spooky decorations. NPCs have outfits. Alma and Eric also have outfits that you can dress them up in for this week, and you can also purchase special seasonal meals. The barrel bowling has also been upgraded with a Halloween theme, and as always we get daily limited bounties that are well worth doing, and we get access to the majority of event quests rather than having to wait for rotational ones. In fact, this brings us straight on to the event quest section, as we don't really have to talk about the limited bounty section. This week we actually have a fair few new event quests. However, 2 of these actually came on Saturday, and I did mention them in last week's limited bounty. However, at the time of that video, the full details were not available, so we'll go into them in a bit more detail here. So the first event quest is Just What the Doctor Ordered. A 10-star high rank quest that requires hunters to be hunter rank 100 or above, and has players taking on a 10-star Rampopolo in the Oil Well Basin. This quest was added because Rampopolo was the least hunted monster in the game, unfortunately. I found it a fun monster, but there was little reason to go back and hunt it over and over again. However, they've given us a 10-star version, and for completing it, you're rewarded with similar 10-star loot that you would find from other 10-star monsters, such as Time-Worn Charm that can be turned into random talismans, and Battle-Tempered Emblems that can be turned into Gogmazios upgrade materials. Also, for completing this quest up to 6 times, you're rewarded with various pendants. There are 7 in total. The first being the Noxious Lantern, which is a wonderful looking pendant, and the other sequential times will yield you basically a lizard balloon known as the Polo Pow. You will also be rewarded with Rampopolo sketches. These tickets can be then taken to the blacksmith to craft the Rompo mask that has maxed out resentment and level 2 Counter-Strike on it. Has no decorations though. The next event quest is Razzle Dazzle Frazzle, an 8-star high rank quest that requires hunters to be hunter rank 41 or above. This is the event quest added to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of Monster Hunter Wilds. This quest has us taking on a Tempered Gypceros and a Tempered Raydal in the Wounded Hollow. Now the Gypceros here is surprisingly tough, so keep that in mind. Anyway, for completing this quest, you're rewarded with Gala Suit tickets. These can be then taken to the blacksmith to craft various pieces of gear, including the Gala armor set, known as the Gala Suit, that comes with okay skills, but is mainly going to be used in all honesty for late armor purposes. You can also forge this for your Palico as well. Anyway, next up and new this week, we have Hope of the Ancients, a 10-star high rank quest that requires hunters to be hunter rank 100 or above, and has players taking on a, 10-star Zosia in the Dragon Torch Shrine. This is basically 10-star Zosia. Its moves aren't drastically different in all honesty. I believe they're pretty much all the same, although it hits a lot harder. Now for completing this quest, you're rewarded with Time-Worn Charms to get random talismans and Battle-Tempered Emblems to use at the Island Melder for Gogma arty and weapon upgrades and so on and so forth. So the main reason to take on this quest may be for Test of Metal, really. Although I did get a lot of random talismans for completing this quest. And then finally is a Flash of Brilliance, an 8-star high rank quest that again requires hunters to be hunter rank 41 or above to participate in, and has players taking on a Tempered Lagiacrus and Tempered Raydal in the Wounded Hollow. This is the collaboration event between Monster Hunter Wilds and Universal Studios Japan, or USJ. This has been a collaboration event that has been persistent in pretty much all Monster Hunter games that I can remember, at least ones I've played. And for completing this quest, you'll be rewarded with Azure Star Gems. These can be taken to the blacksmith to craft various pieces of gear, including the Azure Era Bow and the Azure Star Longsword. Both of these seem to have decent stats, as well as a unique skill, Convert Water Resistance, which converts your water resistance into elemental damage. But obviously it is restricted that it is a water weapon, and I don't think it's going to be replacing any of the Gogma Artian weapons, which is a shame. You're also able to craft the Azure Age armor set, which has decent skills like Latent Power, Adrenaline Rush, and a few other useful skills that pretty much benefit the bow and longsword, like Quick Sheave and Constitution. And then finally, it also comes with the Lagiacrus set bonus on it. And then finally, you're also able to craft yourself the Azure Era Palico armor set as well. Finally, for this collaboration event, you're also, for completing the quest for the first time, you're rewarded with another cool little pendant known as the Azure Era Wind Chime, which is a little wind chime basically. It's been in other Monster Hunter games before, and it looks really pretty in this one. So that about wraps up the new event quest, but before we move on, I want to quickly go over the fact that Monster Hunter Stories 3 is soon here. It is arriving on the 13th of March, so it's right around the corner. I will be covering it, but maybe not in as depth as I would with Monster Hunter Wilds, but I will be covering it nonetheless. Remember, there is a demo available for it at the moment as well if you want to check out Monster Hunter Story 3 to get a taste of it. Also, your save progress will carry over between the demo and the full game. And finally, I want to say that on the 5th of March at 2 PM Pacific time, Capcom are hosting another spotlight, a 30-minute spotlight, going over some of their games, but this time they're going to be mainly focusing on Monster Hunter Stories 3, Pragmata, the Mega Man Starforge Legacy Collection, and Street Fighter 6. So there won't be any real Monster Hunter Wilds news here, but like I said, it does involve Monster Hunter Stories 3, so it may be worth checking out. Again, I'll leave a link down in the description below if you want to go check out the showcase yourself, as I personally won't be covering it on the channel as I'm a little bit too busy at the moment. But there we have it, that about wraps up what is going on at the moment. I must confess I haven't been playing loads of Monster Hunter this week, but that is because I've been mainly wrapped up with Resident Evil Requiem. I have been playing it over on the channel. If you want to check out my playthrough, my blind playthrough of how I stumble through the game, I'll leave a link down in the description below, or you can find it elsewhere on the channel, although it was technically a live stream, so it's not categorized as a normal video, which is a shame. But I'd love for you to check it out if you're willing to do so. But what are your thoughts on this week's activities? What are your thoughts on the new event quests? Please leave a comment down below. And until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you a quick information video regarding this week's miscellaneous news, limited bounties, and event quests for Monster Hunter Wilds. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and like for more.